Are they doing this virtually?
So the camera is. And this count, Adriana's command. Hope to check in online and then start.
SBDC refers over to them. They're not referring anybody over to them anymore. Because between my deal and 2 others.
Let me change the view because that's what you see.
I think the CEO told us we're gonna give you everything more, and then they came back and said, oh, we're just not making money.
There you go.
But because of the service they provided, I didn't want to take a chance. I'd rather be like these other companies and not worry about not having funds.
Well, welcome everyone. This is our Buenos Dias networking breakfast. Today we have a special guest. His name is Malachi. I'll introduce him later. For guests online and for guests in person, I'm actually new to the chamber. My name is Adriana Acedo Campillo. I'm the new events coordinator here. I'm very happy to be here, and I hope I am able to help you guys today in the future. And to begin, I would like to introduce the people who are joining us online. Thank you so much for being here today. If you guys want to go ahead and introduce your first name and your company name as well. Okay. Actually, we'll be monitoring that in the chat. But thank you so much for being here. So for in-person guests, if you guys want to go ahead and introduce yourselves in this order.
Good morning, everyone. Florencio Morales, Wells Fargo Commercial Banking. I'm happy to be here and look forward to talk to you guys and answer any questions. Thank you.
So I'm Dino, not only is Mr. McLean, I have a soap distribution company. We do a lot of government supplies, and happy to be here. Thank you all.
My name is Teresa Martins. I'm from Guanatos. We are educators on the ERC program.
Hi, my name is Liz Cervantes, and I'm with US Bank Business Bank.
I'm Joe Stringfellow with Power Circle Real Estate Group. We're part of HomeSmart. So we're real estate. Working with both.
Good morning, this is Adriana, so with Power Circle Real Estate Group, also part of.
So Williams, we handle mobile notary transactions for all real estate transactions. So I own a signing service called 1111 Notarize.
My name is Valdez. I'm a producer. I do a lot of events in Arizona, also outside Arizona and different places. I also do commercials. So
Right now we're doing introductions, so if you guys would like to go ahead and introduce yourselves as well. Sure.
my name is Nicole Sierra, and I am a construction company owner.
My name is Imelda Javi, and I'm the CEO and founder of Imelda Capital.
Wonderful. It's lovely to meet you all. It's great to see you here. So now I would like to introduce our speaker. This is Malachi Rodriguez, which will be, hosting our presentation today. It is how to do business with Wells Fargo. So if you'd like to step in.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing? Good. Awesome. Sounds good. Well, glad to have you here. The people in our community, that makes the most difference. I have a passion with just teaching, facilitating business education, credit, whatever the case may be, just because you guys make the difference in our community. So I like to support that, just stand behind one another and use the tools and present the the resources that we have available for you guys to be successful and grow and expand your business as you need to as well. So a little bit about me. Again, I'm with Wells Fargo. I've been with them for 7 years actually this month. I've been a business banker for going on 5. Currently, I'm the business relationship manager right there on Central and Thomas. So yeah, if you didn't get my business card, please grab one for me before you head out. I'm more than happy to work with you. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. But besides that, let's go ahead and get started. So this last couple of years, it's been kind of wonky couple of years there going on. I know it's affected me personally with even my own family. So, I mean, with my wife, I was supposed to get married 3 years ago, but then the pandemic hit, and that kind of pushed things out another 3 years. So I barely got married this January to my beautiful wife, Tina. Thank you so much. And then, I mean, even my son has been affected, and myself with missing work, with my son missing school, with him kind of transitioning to be taught virtual now. And a lot of businesses have transitioned to that as well. I mean, during the pandemic, I'd say probably about 50% of foot traffic slowed down, where people they weren't safe. They didn't feel safe going out to the public and going into an actual business, and they were more geared towards doing everything online or virtual and things like that. So right now, I know we have the government programs with PPP and the IDL programs and everything like that was supporting us. But now that that's gone, what do we fall on? You know, what do we lean on to support us in our small business and growth and expansion and opportunities that we have to take advantage of? So that's what we're going to be talking about today, is managing business credit and the importance of that. So that way you guys have the working capital to take advantage of those opportunities, take that next step and level up your business. So that's really what it's all about. So managing good credit, today like I said, we'll talk about steps that you can take to build a strong credit profile for your company and for yourself. And then we'll take a look at a large range of financing options that you might consider to support your business. So to make the most out of the conversation today, I'd like to learn more about you guys. So how many of you are just starting your company? No new business owners here? Good stuff, all season. How many of you have had a business for a few years? So a good handful of you. And then how many of you have owned a business for a while looking toward retirement? Who's talked about retirement in the last couple of years, or have you even reviewed the retirement plan? So that's an important piece. Actually, I was talking with Florencio here about the importance of that conversation too, and really having a game plan to transition your business at the end. Once you make it to that goal of where you're trying to work so hard to make it towards, right? That's a big focus. So the exit strategy, transitioning, and everything there. So thank you guys. By understanding your business and your operating cycle, that kind of helps me kind of focus on where I need to focus on. So more seasoned, no transition in retirement. So let's get into it. So first slide, these are kind of the topics we're going to be talking about. So managing credit, what potential lenders look for. Also business credit life cycle, making sense of your financing options, and then free education resources that we have available for you guys that you can utilize. So managing credit. Credit, I'd say, probably is the most important asset of a business. Just because, like I said, it can bridge cash flow gaps. It can kind of keep you from sinking in the water when we run into pandemics or hiring freezes or whatever else may go on in the economy. So that's what helps us kind of stay above water on those points. So successful businesses at every level don't just guess about their credit, they actively manage it. And that's the difference of being a really successful business and having those assets and working capital available to you, is actively managing your credit and being conscientious of what's on your report, how many lines you're handling, what you're going to need to handle for expenses for your business, what you need to take advantage of other opportunities, whether it's investment into real estate or whether it's getting additional equipment for or your producing company or whatever the case may be. So businesses can really rely on working capital. So like I said, to support their plan and grow, capitalize on unexpected opportunities when they come up. And then sometimes it does make sense to use the cash on hand, but there's times when businesses owners they need to use financing options. That's just plain and simple. That way they can keep their safety net in their accounts and they have that cash available to it liquid, right? So a clear understanding of your needs, thorough preparation of some helpful information can help you choose the appropriate financing options. So how your business can rely on credit, we spoke about that, and then how your banker can be a valuable resource. So using your resources around you, especially with our financial institutions. And I go through training and everything like that to kind of really get to know about what you as business owners go through and the operating cycle of the company, all the way from getting your inventory to selling it and getting the income and profit back into the business and how long that account receivable process is, because sometimes that can take a while too. So conducting a financial review, that's something that you can make an appointment with your local banker. If you haven't got consulting around that yet, I highly recommend to, because like I said, we have a lot of tools and resources available to us. Reviewing your business situation and then discussing your future business goals too, and being proactive about that. So the way I like to kind of gear it is every time I meet with my customers or my business clients, I ask them, what's your 5-year goal? And where do you want to see yourself in your business, right? And what do we need to do today to start preparing for that 5-year mark? And a lot of that can be surrounding around credit and building your strong credit profile. So let's go to the next slide here. So on here, we're talking about taking control of your credit profile, creating a sound financial footing for your business, establishing a checking and savings account specifically for your business and separate your personal accounts. That's huge. So you can separate business and personal income. That way, if you ever get off at the end of the year, or you have to come up with documentation with your expenses and income for your business, you have a go-to account that you can go to for that. And you're not having to dig around. I had my cousin that was using his personal account, and I came over to his house one time. He had a big box of statements. I'm like, what are you doing? And he's out there just highlighting everything. I'm like, he's like, well, I was running some of my business expenses out of my personal account, and I was out of it. And now he's like, I try to just hand my CPA all these statements, but she wants me to go through everything and itemize every expense for my business. So that's the benefit of having an account to separate that with. So that way you have a go-to account, you pull your statements, and there you are. Voila. Even credit too, when you handle business expenses with credit, for the business credit card as opposed to a personal credit card. You have all your statements right there. You just hand it to your CPA or bookkeeper or whatever the case may be. So. Also, a strong payment history that can strengthen your business credit profile. Reviewing your personal credit profile yearly and clear up any issues. Sometimes we like to not think about it or just push it to the side and, I know this is on my credit, but I'm not going to look at it. If I don't look at it, it's not there, whatever the case may be. I know a lot of people that do that. But make sure you're pulling up a credit report for yourself. See what's on there from time to time. See if there's any discrepancies. Sometimes there are discrepancies that you can dispute on your credit profile to kind of help that make it a little bit stronger for you guys with your credit profile. Also, bank strategically. So consolidating banking relationships, a strong banking history can also support your creditworthiness, and then just demonstrating a consistent flow of funds. So with Wells Fargo, we're a relationship bank. Meaning that we take a look at the time you bank with us. We take a look at the cash flow you have coming in and out of your accounts to help make decisions when it comes time to do lending. So we don't just take a look at the credit profile, we take a look at the picture. So cash flow, income, profitability, all that good stuff that goes into play with building a strong credit report for yourself. So just keep that in mind too. And then cultivate a relationship. If you have a strong relationship with a business maker local to you, you have somebody that you can call, lean on as well, that can give you advice and like those tools I was talking about too. So I'd say start by creating a sound financial footing. If you don't have any immediate plans to apply for a loan, start taking steps to build your credit and creditworthiness in the name of your business. Separate your personal business expenses. Get a free copy of your personal credit report every year. Clear up any issues. And we'll talk about that credit reporting in a few minutes too, on where you can access all that information if you don't know. And then also banking strategically, a solid banking history can boost that overall creditworthiness. Because like I said, that's the state cash flow is there and provides clear evidence of your ability to repay a loan. Even if you do have several accounts with different financial institutions, maybe consider consolidating them to build your banking relationship. So that way they have the bulk of that whole picture of your finances, of your financial picture. Also managing your banking relationship by always maintaining your accounts in good standing. Having a positive cash flow, not going negative on the accounts to show that negative balance. Trying to demonstrate a consistent flow of funds over time and creating that record shows that stability too. And then cultivating that human banking relationship, like I said, by just paying attention to the face-to-face aspect of the relationship. So moving forward from there, we'll go into getting to know your credit report. What's the last time any of you have pulled up a credit report on yourself? Or have you going to take a look at a full report?
I look at mine daily.
Okay.
And I pulled the creative report about a month ago to make sure it matched, because I use the combination of Credit Karma and my Fargo.
Okay.
And then I use NAV for my business.
Good stuff. And what did you find on there? Anything that can help you move forward or kind of open up your...
With the personal or business?
Both, really.
Personal, we're really solid. Matter of fact, we were just talking about, we just opened up several lines of credit with various credit cards for both business and personal.
Okay.
Yeah, so having a little trouble understanding the Equifax and Experian business reports. It says stuff, but then it doesn't show anything. It's total business is totally different. Looking at that, same thing with Paydex with those. It's I know a lot about personal credit. I'm learning a lot about business.
Yeah.
It's a different world.
It is. It really is. Have you had a chance to actually call the credit bureau and ask them questions, or?
Yeah, I did talk to Dunn's a little bit. They were somewhat helpful, but I'm looking. I need to find out who to talk to at Experian and Equifax.
There you go. That's what I recommend. Just talk to them directly. Simple thought. They can be a lot of big help when it comes to that.
Yeah. One thing that I did learn that I'll share with you, I was like, with your personal credit, it's not bad until you're over 30 days late.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could have a perfect pay history. You paid everything 28 days late.
Right.
Business, I didn't know that. It's like I'm missing payment. None of that. Oh, okay, I'll get it before it hits next month. No. The 1 to 3 days starts with that 4 to 7 days and everything else.
Absolutely.
So
Making your payments on time, managing that credit.
yeah, we're gonna try that. No, we've already reverted over the last couple of months that no matter what.
Yeah.
Payroll.
I always recommend setting up the minimum payment. If you're dealing with credit, set up the minimum payment. That way you're always on time or you're ever late, and you can always throw more money at it during the month if you ever need to, right? That's what I've found that helps a lot. And I don't like the full payment myself. Sometimes I'm just a little bit down on my cash flow, and sometimes I can't make that full payment in full, and I need that cash to expenditure out to other items or whatnot. So yeah, that's some good stuff there. So getting to know your credit report, like you said, Dun & Bradstreet, they use Paydex, credit bureaus, Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, reach out to them. They're there for support too, and they have the right customer service lines that you can actually call and get a business credit report or ask questions about that information. So absolutely, if you haven't already, I highly recommend it. So aggregate information from many sources. That's your credit report. We just spoke about that. Your payment history, your credit usage, your debt load. That's your debt to income ratio. How much debt you have compared to the inflow of your cash and the capacity to pay that back. So when it comes to lenders, we look at all that information. So just keep that in mind too. It's good to have, I'd say when it comes to your debt to income ratio, 30% of what's available to you and keeping it right around that range around here, right? So potential lenders, they can review your personal and business credit reports when making a credit decision too. So personal credit does take a large play into that. So I mean, especially for a new business, they don't have any kind of credit for their company, then we're falling back on their personal credit. We want to take a look at how large of lines you've handled over some amount of time. That's going to be what your credit history is kind of made up of. And then also if you make your payments on time, early and full, minimum, all that good stuff too. So all that takes play. And then a credit report aggregates information collected by banks and companies that you do business with as they provide information directly to credit reporting agencies that I'm sure you guys know. A personal credit report also includes payment histories, credit financing information such as bankruptcies or tax liens, and inquiries made for access to your records, such as when you apply for credit. Your business credit report includes some the same type of information for any credit activity you have in the name of the business, plus your history of payments and other businesses like vendors and suppliers. And then keep in mind that a lender will look at both. And then personal credit reporting agencies provide a credit report once a year. Review your credit report at least once a year to make sure all that information is correct. Also, the credit score, that's your FICO. Your personal credit scores are mostly calculated by the Fair Isaac company, and the most common business score is PAYDEX from Dun & Bradstreet, and that's mostly used as business as you had stated. Let me see here. The PAYDEX formula looks mainly at whether a business makes payment on time and meets the payment terms of its creditors. Payments on time, we spoke about that in 3 to 6 or 6 to 7, or whatever the case may be. So they'll list all those out on your credit report there too. So one of the main topics I love touching base on is the 5 C's of credit. So 5 C's of credit. Does anybody know what that is or heard about that before previously? Nobody?
I haven't heard the conditions, the other ones.
Conditions.
Yeah.
So let's touch base on those. So credit history, collateral, capital, conditions, and capacity. So many different considerations can go into a credit decision. However, typically lender judge a borrower's creditworthiness using some version of this 5 C's of credit right here. This is what we take a look at when it's going under underwriting and things of that nature. The definition varies, but basic concept remains the same when it comes to that. So credit history shows how you handle credit obligations in the past. This is an indicator as to what a lender can expect in the future. As a business owner, your personal business credit histories are both relevant, and as is information about your outstanding debts and liabilities for your company too. Your collateral, that's often called security, can offer a backup source of repayment for secured financing. You guys have all heard of secured financing and credit, I'm sure, right? So, for example, investments, real estate, that can be used as collateral, equipment, all types of collateral, even assets, account receivables can sometimes be considered as assets as well, or for collateral. So keep that in mind. Sometimes when you use collateral as a secured lending option, sometimes those rates are going to be a lot lower than an unsecured option too. So for example, using the home equity out of your house to do financing or collect or simplify and kind of consolidate debt, right? It's going to put you at a lot lower interest rate if you get a credit card at 11.99% or 8.99%, whatever it is. Capital, that means business assets that can be easily turned into cash, liquid. Typically, the more of your own money that you have invested in your business, the more comfortable the lender may be that you're committed to its success, called owner's equity. When you invest your own cash in that, then we know that you're dedicated, you have your own cash invested in this business, then us as lenders look at that like, okay, you mean business, right? And then conditions. So all internal and external factors may affect your ability to repay the loan. Internal conditions include your plans for the loan, your other resources for carrying them out, and your experience and qualifications that can help you succeed. External conditions include everything that's beyond your control, such as industry, economic trends, your customers, competition, regulations governing your industry. If you came to Wells Fargo and you asked to build a ski lodge here in the middle of Phoenix, we may not lend to that just because the conditions aren't correct, right? We don't have much snow here in Phoenix, so keep that in mind too. So the last of the 5 C's of credit is capacity, and that's your ability to repay that loan. Lenders will want to see that your business will generate enough cash to repay that loan, and then your profitability and cash flow determine capacity. Anybody here has made like a balance sheet or cash flow projections to kind of map out pitfalls, things like that, other debts that you and liabilities that your business has? Any of you have a worksheet that kind of lists that all out for you? Yeah. It can become very useful, especially when we're looking at lending options too, because a lot of information goes into that credit application. So if you have a sound financial footing, you have those reports to just say, here's my financial picture for the bank, then that can help out a lot too. So just keep that in mind. All right, what potential lenders may look for on this one. So applying for financing can seem kind of like a numbers game sometimes, of credit information or financial statements, right? I know a lot of people, just the resources sometimes are hard to find, or maybe, we were never taught that in high school or college, at least I wasn't. So a lot of those resources are kind of just like out of sight, out of mind nowadays. That's another benefit of having that relationship with the bank. While these measures are essential, keep in mind you're also dealing with real people. The more you understand the lender's point of view, the more effective your proposal can be. But there are times where I have applications come across my desk and they get declined, and I have to advocate for my customers, saying, hey, look, this is the lending need. If it's completed, then they can do X, Y, Z with their business and grow this aspect of their business and company. And I can actually speak with them one-on-one, and it's nice because then I can go to bat for my customers in regards to really, presenting that benefit and presenting the valuability and your capability of getting that loan or that kind of lending option. So keep that in mind. Let's see here. Planning for credit success is where we're at now. So credit purpose. Explain how you will use the money and why the amount you're asking for is realistic. Again, you're talking to a real person with our underwriter team. If they can see what you're going to use that money for and it makes sense, say, because I like, for example, I just helped a blind company that sells blinds for homes and commercial buildings, and we weren't going to approve them, but I was like, I talked to my underwriters. He's trying to install a showroom to his actual retail storefront. In the history of that, historically, it's a 30% profit increase when they do that. So, I went to my underwriters and I said, look, this is the showroom they're trying to install. We're looking at a historic 30% profit margin increase for their business. Let's make sense of this, and we're able to go ahead and move forward after getting it final application. So mapping out where you're going to use those funds for is super important, and having those margins kind of in place with your cash flow projections when those go into place. Credit history. Describe your credit profile accurately to ensure that there are no surprises. Right? We talked about that. Discrepancies in our credit report and things that shouldn't be on there that you can dispute to make sure that those are clean. Company finances. Provide cash flow projections to demonstrate your ability to repay the loan. Application details. Ensure your sales and income numbers match what is on the most recent tax return. That's huge too. So yeah, keep those in mind there, guys. Those are all things we can do to kind of plan for credit success and kind of build that profile for us. Enhancing your cash flow. So kind of touch base on credit and on-time payments and creating that good profile for your business and things that you can use as far as relationships and tools and resources. This one's enhancing your cash flow, so accelerating your inflows, monitoring your costs, watching your outflows, covering your taxes, and then challenge everything. So what that means is, because cash flow will be critical for financing, these are all tips on how you can help improve that. So accelerating your inflows, so sending invoices immediately, follow up quickly, offer multiple payment options to bring in revenue, making sure that cash flow option and that payment that you're accepting from your customers and clients are going to be in the account as soon as possible, because we need that cash flow to operate business. It's the lifeblood of a company, right? Also monitoring your costs, so tracking your regular bills and due dates, understanding how often your inventory turns, and know your payroll obligations. We call that account receivables, account payables, right? I have some companies that, with real estate companies specifically, you have to wait till the sale's completed to get paid out. That could be 30, 60, 90, 180 days down the road. Where's your cash flow to invest to that next real estate property at? It's all tied up in this income that's due to come to you. So that's the importance of credit, is when you're using a credit card, you're using a line of credit, and your cash flow is dipping. You're going through a pandemic, you're going through a hiring freeze, you're going through whatever the case may be. And your business line of credit creates a straight line across those dips, those hills and valleys, as we call it, in cash flow, and helps you overcome those points in our economy. And it's huge. Like I said, the PPP program, the EIDL is gone, so what are we going to lean on? And not only that, but you want that strong credit profile to help you expand. If you're getting your own commercial building, if you're getting your own employees, and you need to float payroll, and you have a $60,000 payroll, you know, what options do you have available to you, and how strong of a credit history have you built over that time to really paint that picture for your lender? That's kind of how I like to paint the picture, so just keep that in mind there too. Watching your outflows, so your burn rate. Obviously, you don't want your money to leave your account faster than it's coming in, because then we have a cash flow problem. So using business credit card rewards programs, that's another benefit of using credit. You get rewards for that. Volume discounts and even barter arrangement to conserve and control cash flow payments. Covering your taxes, setting aside appropriate percentage each month to avoid penalties. I had a company one time that did not save proactively. At the end of the year, they owed a $60,000, $70,000 tax bill that they were scrounging around for money to make up. So being proactively, saving proactive, putting that account is something that's going to be a safety net for yourself in case you run into emergencies, right? You always want to have that backup plan. Lastly, challenge everything. Are you getting the maximum value for every relationship that you have with your business? This is huge, guys. Your vendors, your suppliers, are there expenses you can cut without affecting profitability? Or does your vendors offer discounts like a 1 net 30, whatever the case may be, where you can pay it off in 3 days, get a 1% discount, or you can pay it off in 30 days and pay the full price, right? It's called purchasing power, and that's another benefit of having that working capital available to you, because now you have purchasing power where you can buy in bulk, and sometimes you can take advantage of discounts from vendors and suppliers too. So keep that in mind. Let's see here. Let's go into the business credit life cycle. So every business is unique, but there are common needs and characteristics based on where they stand in the life cycle of the business as it evolves from an idea into a mature company. Every business starts with the idea of starting that company, right? So matching this progression of business stages is a credit life cycle, spanning the most common credit needs, credit building strategies, and credit products. So matching your business credit stage, seed and startup. Let's go ahead and touch on that life cycle of the business. So when you look at a business life cycle and the considerations that you might have when it comes to credit, the seed stage is the earliest stage of the business life cycle. That's focused on planning, right? Planning proactively. I say that's probably the most important piece of the business is planning. Plan proactively, what's going to happen next year? What am I going to prepare for? What's my next move? How am I growing? Whatever the case may be there. So you may not seek financing at all, but this is a critical time for your credit planning. So build out your business plan and develop a funding strategy. So during the startup stage, as your venture gets off the ground, obtaining funding is a critical priority. As I mentioned before, investors prefer entrepreneurs with some skin in the game, as they call it. So a substantial investment of your own money sends a message that you're committed to making that business work and function and be successful. Likely sources of a startup funding include personal and family assets, business credit cards, business line of credit, healthcare financing, startup loans, outside investors, micro lenders, angel investors. I mean, there's so many options out there and things that you can kind of utilize to get that financing for the company, right? In case you don't know, I'm going to go over, like I said at the beginning of the presentation, about some free resources that you guys can use, the tools to kind of guide you with those two. So next slide here, we'll go into growth. So as your business grows, your financing needs change, right? When you first start off a company, it may not be the same financing needs as 3 years down the road in your company. You may have additional equipment. And once you have that equipment for like construction companies, Then you're having to manage the repairs, the maintenance on that equipment. You're having to manage, I mean, a whole lot of things. You might grow your employee base where you have to now increase insurance premiums and all that other good stuff. So we have tools for all of that too. So like I said, yeah, my business card, if you ever have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me on that too. So as your business grows, like I said, your financing needs change. You may want to be able to take advantage of opportunities as they arise, while at the same time, you may begin enjoying greater access to financing. During the growth stage, you make sure that your funding keeps up with your growth and offers the flexibility to act quickly when you choose. So possible funding stages at this stage are like business lines of credit, SBAs, 7As, or 504s, refinance and purchase loans secured by commercial real estate, using the equity out of that real estate, right? We spoke about that. Sometimes they need the lower interest rate that you can take advantage of. It's all be fed and do other financing and growth expenditures and ventures. Healthcare financing loans, refinancing existing debt may improve cash flow and getting rid of that payment, knocking down those higher interest rate payments and really kind of focusing on getting something lower that you can manage with. Let's see here. So healthcare financing loans, refinancing debt may improve cash flow, which may help like a doctor looking to qualify for a CRE loan. An expansion loan can pay for improvements to existing practice or expand the practice. A doctor may want to use something like a startup loan to start a satellite offer or acquire a practice at a second location. And a practice equity loan may be used as a cash injection with Wells Fargo SBA or conventional CRE purchase. CRE is commercial real estate, is what that stands for. So next stage, maturity. So it sounds like a lot of you guys are kind of like in the growth and maturity stage of business, right? You've been in business for a while. You already have that growth and kind of made it to the next step. Now we're kind of maturing and looking for ways that we can possibly expand and grow that even further. Even when your business reaches maturity, your business may never stand still. While your focus is at this stage maybe on staying ahead of the competition and improving efficiency, give some thought to your financing as well. Strategic funding decisions might include paying down debt, refinancing commercial real estate equity, opening a commercial equity line or credit or loan. So keep all those in mind as well. Expansion. So a major expansion can take your business to a new place. If you have a business line of credit, you need to increase your line size. We spoke about keeping that balance at 30% or below to kind of help with that debt to income ratio for the company. I've seen applications come through where it says, high utilization of credit, meaning that they have a high max or even maxed out credit card or line of credit. And what does that tell the lender? You got to think about that and think proactively with that. You want to pay down those debts and kind of keep that manageable so you can show that lender, hey, look, we can manage high balances, I can knock them down, get them paid off fast, and now we're able to, okay, let's look at lending even more in addition to what we already have with that customer. So major expansion, like I said, you need to increase your line size. The business may not be able to spare enough cash to expand. So many consider now financing resources to fund new product lines, locations, acquisitions, merchandise, whatever the case may be. So monitor your cash flow and margins and carefully help maximize your access to commercial real estate financing, the SBAs, and healthcare financing loans, or if you have any of you are in the medical field. And transition, something I mentioned at the beginning of this presentation, transition. Retirement. We've worked so hard all of our lives to do what? To keep working, or is that to retire, right? So we can enjoy the money that we worked so hard to make during those years. We have a pretty diverse group at my location, on the Central Economics location, where we have a premier banker. We have a financial advisor. We have myself as the business relationship manager. So banks have specialty bankers that specialize in these kind of categories. If you haven't spoke about that yet, or thought about retirement or setting up a plan for yourself, I highly recommend you do it today, not tomorrow, today. The faster you do it, the faster you grow those assets, right? Just like when we invest in our own 401k, the I mean, the compounding interest alone can double up and it makes a difference. So transition, when your business hits the transition stage, you begin to think about your end game. Financing may not be a high priority. But whether you're planning to sell your business or keep it in the family, you want to enhance its value and stability, right? Because then you have a larger company you can sell off and transition to somebody else for a partner buyout or whatever the case may be. Making sure that any significant debt is optimized for the long term. At this stage, you may want to consider paying down debt, refinancing commercial real estate equity, and just kind of focusing on getting all those paid off and increasing the value of your company. So making sense of financing options, since there's so many types, kind of knowing the terms is going to help you understand your options there too. So when it comes to options, knowing the language is huge. Secured, unsecured. Secured, obviously backed by collateral, equipment, real estate, UCC liens. Unsecured requires no collateral, depends entirely on your credit and strong cash flow. Notice as they say, strong cash flow. Having that relationship with a bank, having that personal and business assets separated, having that go to account to show your income and expenses. Again, that's huge. It'll help show that financial picture for your business. Let's go into slide here. And then finding the right financing that's right for you and your specific needs. So different types of credit breakdown based on their terms and other details. So let's look at some of the basics. So we got your credit cards, your lines of credit, your commercial real estate, your SBAs, and then your healthcare financing too. So business credit cards, much like a personal credit card, and can be a great way to begin establishing business credit. A credit card can help you manage monthly expenses and also provide special billing options, reporting tools to keep track of reporting, and rewards. Like I said too, I had some of my business owners that use credit cards and lines of credit because they come with rewards for everything. And at the end of the year, they have a nice bulk amount that's saved up that they can turn into a gift card to give out to their employees, take a vacation, whatever the case may be. So really kind of using all those aspects of your business and all those tools with rewards that are available to you can really help too. A credit card can also help really kind of act as like a day-to-day expense manager, right? That's not something you're wanting to carry a balance on a 2-3 month cycle with, because typically credit cards have higher interest rates. Sometimes they do have good promotions too. So 0% for like Wells Fargo right now, we have a 0% card for 9 months. So that can be used to help really kind of get some of those financing options done and avoid paying those interest rates and still get rewards. So keep that in mind. A business line of credit is an open revolving account that lets you borrow available funds when you need them, and then up to a given maximum amount. You can pay off the amount owed at any time. You only pay interest on the outstanding balance. So more liquid. So think of that as kind of like opposed to the credit card, but the line of credit is more liquid in the sense that you could transfer right into your account as cash, right? So things that you need to pay for that you can't pay with a credit card at a point of sale system or online, put a card number in, just deposit those or transfer that cash out of your line of credit right into your account, and there you go. That's some extra working capital for your business. Commercial real estate financing. That allows you to not only obtain funding to expand your business or purchase new commercial property, free up cash by refinancing at a lower rate or an extended term, or borrow against your equity for a business-related event. That could be a huge investment. You're not only investing in your business, but you're investing in yourself, because then you can use the equity out of that commercial property at the end when it comes to transitioning your business. Then you have an asset for that actual commercial property you can sell off. So keep those in mind too as a way to kind of leverage those. Small business administration, so SBA loans and lines include a range of loan programs designed to support small business. So the actual loans are made by a traditional lender like Wells Fargo, but on some types of SBA loans and lines, SBA guarantees a portion of the loan or line against default. The credit requirements are similar to those for a regular loan or line, but certainly key terms may provide more flexibility to the borrowers. than conventional bank loans and lines. For example, SBA loans may include lower down payments and longer repayment terms. So if you have a longer term to repay that with, obviously your payments are going to be lower, and it's going to help you keep cash flow in the business. So keep that in mind. And then finally, specialized financing for healthcare practices, including dentists, optometrists, physicians, vets, whether needed for new practice ownership or growing an established practice. These competitive fixed rate loans offer a variety of repayment terms as well. And then think creatively to find funding. So finally, keep in mind that, say, not all financing comes from a traditional lender like a bank. There's so many tools out there like CDFIs. Has anybody heard of a CDFI or what that means? You're saying nodding his head, yes. It's a CDFI commercial, and it's going to be a community development financial institution. They're more geared towards, well, I don't know if you guys were, but through the whole PPP program and that the government rolled out, any kind of profit Wells Fargo made, we actually supplied grants to our local CDFIs. What they're geared towards, that they have different underwriting aspects they could take a look at. They're for individuals that can't get lending through traditional banks and things of that nature that may have a difficult time getting that lending, and they can actually have a representative that can provide them with tools, financial footing, and help them get the lending they need that they may not be able to get elsewhere. So keep that in mind. We have links for that too if you have questions about that. So think outside the box when looking to secure business financing. Take a step back, look at your surroundings, local and national organizations, the Chamber of Commerce, all the connections that you made over the years. These organizations may not help you directly, but I guarantee they probably know about a local funding resource that's available to you. Some of your options include seller financing of big ticket items like real estate, large equipment, vehicles might be available, and sometimes come with sales incentives such as like 0% interest for a specified period of time or lower sticker prices. Factoring or accounts receivable financing is a way to get the money from your business accounts receivable earlier by selling the invoice to a finance company. And that's in exchange for a percentage of the invoice amount. This may be another option that your business is in need of for immediate cash flow and kind of increase that cash flow cycle for the company. Peer-to-peer lending is where online companies create a forum for small businesses to connect with investors offering credit. Those are angel investors, hard money loans, things like that. You request a loan amount, and multiple individuals or institutional lenders can decide whether or not to provide that funding. So that way it's across many boards and in the view of many eyes too. As you pay off those loans, investors get back their principal investment along with a little bit of interest on that. And then community development grants and loans from mission-based lenders may also be available. So consider like community development financial institutions, like I said, CDFIs, and minority deposit institution, also known as MDIs, as an alternative to traditional banks who also provide responsible lending options. And local, federal, state government programs can also be available too. So business grants, things like that you can take advantage of. If you haven't done research on that, I highly recommend you because that can be huge too and can present some more working capital for your business. Community development grants, there we go. May also be available. Nonprofits dedicated to helping small business may provide small loans and grants, usually backed by donations or government funds. And let's go into 3 additional resources. So Wells Fargo has dedicated a lot of time and money to kind of create these tools for our business to help you guys succeed financially, just because, like I said at the beginning of our presentation, you guys make such a big difference in our community. I mean, you're the face of our community really when it comes down to it. I like that commercial that comes on the radio where it starts off with this woman and she's starting off her day and she's like, yeah, I go to the deli for my regular deli sandwich, and then I go to the Mexican store to get my champurrado and my coffee and stuff like that. And it kind of just goes to show that people, if you don't think about it, we have our own way of living and we have our own things to do in our day-to-day process. And then sometimes that's visiting Starbucks and eating our coffee in the morning, then going to the grocery store, and all these are small businesses that help our community. So anywho, so for educational resources to kind of help you expand, grow that company, and kind of be on top of that ball. So there's a lot more to know about business credit, managing business credit, and applying for business financing. And then besides your banker, of course, I'd like to show you another great resource here. So let's see, actually, it's right here. There we go. So if you go to wellsfargo.com, we have a whole business resource tab. If you look at the top, there's a tab that says business resources. When you go in there, it's going to populate a page that looks like this. I don't know if you guys can all see this clearly, but up here, we have our cash flow projection tool that comes with a business plan tool that you can create for yourself to help keep you inundated, kind of keep your ideas flowing and keep helping you to look back at what you were doing originally when you started your company, what worked well, and what you can build off of from those ideas. That's the benefit of having a business plan. So that way you can keep innovation going and keep that liveliness going in your business to help you grow. And then there's a bunch of different tabs down here. I don't know if you guys can see it, but this is credit and financing, cash flow financial management. You have your planning and operations, your business insights that keeps track of the market and the way the economy is going, stuff like that. You even have your healthcare practices for anybody that's in healthcare, and then your women-owned business resources. That's a great one too. There's incubators you guys can join. There's classes with NASDAQ, part of our entrepreneur center, departments that can really help support your business and your ventures too. So keep that in mind. This is an excellent resource. Every time I meet with a business client, I show them this. Just because there's ways, I mean, when you start clicking in some of these tabs too, there's things like what you can do to digitally grow your business, since a lot of these are transitioning online since the pandemic. More businesses, like I said, are transitioning to online. So how to really focus your business and doing the digital upgrades either to your website, abilities to take in payments through a website and generate foot traffic, increasing those cash flow and payment options is something that we talked about earlier in this presentation. So there's like videos, there's articles in here, there's other resources on credit. You can also access the business credit finder, which can help you find financing options that fit your business needs. So right on here, like I said, business resource tab on the top of wellsfargo.com. And then we even added a COVID slide on there too, where it's more focused around building your business after the pandemic too, and some of the changes that have taken place with not only the economy, but the way our clients has transition with doing their business and making their payments and outreaching to our small businesses in our community too. So good resource there for you guys. And then last slide here, how we can help. You all should have a business card. Like I said, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm more than happy to answer any questions, needs. If you're looking at working capital, we could definitely have that financial conversation and really deep dive into that too. And so then our 800 numbers on here, that's for our National Business Banking Center you can reach out to. And our website on there too. Well, thank you guys so much for having me. It's been such a pleasure.
Thank you.
Any questions in regards to any of that?
So you mentioned that you can borrow money versus the equity, and you were talking about real estate. Now, for example, if I own, let's say I own a truck that is worth like, let's say $20,000, and I just need to borrow $3,000. Can you use that as a collateral for the $3,000?
The collateral, like a house or
No, the
commercial real
car.
estate?
You own it outright?
Depends on
Or just a loan?
just the loan.
Yes, but then you say, well, I mean, you know, and I'm just giving, you know, I'm throwing the question on it. And then I said, you know, well, I have this car that I can back up, you know, you can take it, you know, that I will repay, you know, the $3,000 loan. So would you accept that?
Will you accept
So what would you be using as security? collateral?
A car.
The vehicle?
Yeah, vehicle.
So when you do a vehicle loan, it's already secured by the actual vehicle.
Oh, okay.
That's why there's like a title lien on
Oh,
the vehicle.
okay.
Because of anything we're having, you stop taking payments, what happens? They
Okay.
repossess it. But if you need additional working capital to start that down payment for the $3,000, that's a different story. Then you can use equity if you have commercial commercial property, equity out of your house to finance that. We can look at working capital, like I said, with credit card, business line of credit, stuff like that too. So, yeah.
I'm sorry, I think her question was, if she owns a vehicle that's worth $20,000, can she get a loan on that
A
vehicle?
title loan,
Yeah,
you can get a title loan.
It would be for the business,
So
not
she's
me.
looking,
No.
I'm sorry, she's looking at putting it up as collateral.
yes,
And getting like a loan from that.
yes.
Yeah, I was just wondering,
That's-
with
it's
the
a
one that does
difficult
that.
one. When you talk to lenders, there's a lot of depreciation when it comes to vehicles or anything on wheels for that matter. So the depreciation rate and stuff like that, a lot of the time we don't have appetite to use that as collateral because of that depreciation rate, but we can look at options.
So, when you mentioned the 5 Cs, I was thinking, because I was familiar with the 3 Cs, the cash flow, your credit, and your collateral.
Mhm.
So one of the issues that, we don't have a brick and mortar building, we don't own real estate.
Right.
SBA likes to see collateral, most banks want to see that collateral. So if something happens to me or the company that, we've got this resource that we can liquidate, get our money back.
Yeah.
So how do you overcome that obstacle? Because I'm not planning on buying any commercial real estate anytime soon.
Yeah, absolutely. So no, kind of needing the collateral to get that funding out
Yeah,
there.
not having the collateral,
Yeah, I think when it comes to that kind of question, I think it all comes down to building that credit profile for yourself and really proactively managing that credit. Because then if you don't have any kind of collateral, then we're looking at unsecured credit options, right? That's not secure. Nice thing about SBA when it comes to Small Business Administration, and this is the program that we have for a lot of new companies as well. If it's a new business that's 2 years or under, that's been established, then we can look into something like an SBA line of credit, where it's backed by the SBA. So if anything were to happen, then we are still guaranteed payment by the SBA. It's a nice program that we have to get that lending when you don't have maybe a strong credit profile and still get that option there for you when you don't have that collateral. So there's other options out there if you don't have collateral. Like I said, SBAs. I'd say work on maybe just building that strong credit personal profile, and we can look into extending other business credit or CD advice, like I mentioned. Those are more for individuals that have a complicated time getting traditional lending. It's a huge resource, CD advice. So if you haven't looked into those, I highly recommend you do that too. Did that answer your question? Okay. Well, I know it's kind of hard working without collateral.
Yeah.
What's been your main complication?
The banks, well, this is what we've dealt with about a year and a half ago. And, also we looked at the CDFI, they still like to see collateral.
Yeah.
And then also the cash flow.
Yeah.
Because our cash flow was good, and then last year with COVID, lack of contractors, where's your cash flow?
Yeah.
I
Sometimes
don't
it's
know, I'm looking for it. Eric, you got my cash flow?
Sometimes it's nice to start off with a secured option. That's why I always mention that at the beginning of a business. Credit. If you don't have credit, get it established. If you can't get qualified for unsecured, start a secured credit card, because then we can see the history that you've managed with that secured card. And when it comes time to get that lending, we're going to be more apt to getting that lending for you. So
If I can just elaborate a little bit on your question. if That's okay.
yeah, correct.
So to answer your question, so there is still a way for you to borrow, and even though you don't have an actual tangible thing that you can touch as collateral, obviously your assets like your receivables can be leveraged as another form of collateral. When it comes to loans that are smaller than maybe 100,000, the likelihood is you're going to pay a very expensive rate for that type of risk. And so I think what Malachi is mentioning is, in the spectrum of things, depending on the size of your business, you can definitely still have other sorts of financing, but they're going to be a lot more expensive because of the fact that, again, they're looking for that tangible asset. Many companies, as you probably will see, they will file a UCC blanket on your business to secure those assets, which again, are mentioned that you don't have any other type of collateral. And normally those types of loans are renewed every year. You know, I kind of compare that long-term financing to like the marriage and the line of credit, like to date, right? It's like, hey, we're gonna check in 1 year to see if we're still good. Otherwise, I don't know. But that's essentially how you can leverage that. But so there's factoring, there's a lot of other options, but just know that you're gonna pay a high price for it. And again, it has to do with the risk. But many businesses still use it. Many businesses still succeed. I think you shouldn't be drawn more about the rate, but the fact that you get the ability to borrow under that option. Sometimes those options are not as readily available for, you know, some of the products and services we offer in that segment. But as you continue to grow, just know that you have the ability to use your receivables as collateral.
And this is not through Wells Fargo, this would be through a separate entity.
Even through Wells Fargo,
We
too?
even
have
do us,
some
we have, yeah, we have specialty groups. I work with the
Equipment,
commercial side, yeah.
assets, account receivables. We have a bunch of different things that we can use for collateral. If you have questions about that, give me a call, and I'll go over that with you too, if you want.
So let's say an example that a business is been selling for, has a sales of 200,000 for the last 3 years.
Mhm.
And now it's time it wants to have a space of its own and it needs, you know, a loan to secure, you know, to buy this commercial property. Would you take a look into the sales they've been for the last 3 years, or you need like 5 years?
He's actually part of our commercial team. Once you're
I mean,
lucky.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Our commercial banker is in here today. I'm gonna utilize you as my resource.
Just wondering, you know, would you say 3 years or 5 years?
So there's, when it comes to the lending side, we have the conventional lending, which happens through historical analysis. So we will take a look at the last 3 years. And again, just as he was mentioning on the 5 C's of credit, right? We try to take a look at how you historically have managed cash flow. Is there enough cash flow to support the debt that you're trying to get to? And does it make sense to use whatever vehicle of a loan you're gonna get? So in this case, you're asking about real estate, is that right?
Yes.
So yes, we would only ask you for the last 3 years of tax returns for the operating company that is gonna either be occupying the property or that is gonna be, you know, receiving rents for the property. So there's 2 different types of, you know, loans that you can get, either owner occupied or investor. So it just depends on what you're trying to do. But to answer your question, yes, we only look at the last 3 years historically. The reason we use SBA gives you the ability to project your, you know, your years. And because we have the SBA backing, we feel more comfortable in that risk. So that's why we incorporate SBA over future cash flow. And anything outside of that is where, again, you're talking about other forms of financing, which can be more expensive. Does that answer your
Yes,
question?
yes.
Okay.
I think the biggest thing that they're looking for with that too is, okay, we're gonna lend you this much money. Show me how you're gonna be able to repay it.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. You're
Just
absolutely.
just to simplify it. all.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna give you a couple $100,000, show me how I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna get my money back.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And a lot of it will have to do with how you structure the debt too. Because, you know, if you do it long-term, that means lower payments, right? So a lot of it's very involved, right? It can be that simple, but it all has to do with what you're using the proceeds for, how long you think it's gonna take you to pay them. And essentially, like, what do you anticipate, you know, that these particular assets you're buying or acquiring are gonna help you add more to pay us back.
Kind of like I mentioned with that example that I used with the individual company that sells blinds and getting the client to get the money that he needs to install the showroom. But like I mentioned, we had the deep financial conversation, and we were able to historically show that this brings profitability margins up 30–40%. Makes sense? So.
How likely is it, for example, that I have a commercial property that I want to refinance so I can rent out to my separate company? you know, how likely is it that I'm able to do that with you guys?
Yeah, people do that all the time. Absolutely. I have a company I'm working on right now. He has a parent company and rents it out to another company. Inflow or income comes to the parent company.
We're one of the only banks too that plays in the investment real estate space. Not many banks play in that space because of concentration of different types of assets. Like you got multifamily, you got owner occupied, you got medical office, all that. So yeah,
5+ units.
It's actually one of my best friends that he's got a large Ameriprise financial outfit. And so as opposed to keep paying rent, they bought the building. And then, Ameriprise is paying him and his partner for the building, and then he's renting out the other spots, which is also showing how they can cash flow, pay back the loan.
There you go. That's it. Yeah. Should be a picture. I have several of my business clients that do that. We run out of complex or a 5-plex and run them all out with the investment.
Oh, I have land. That's
We're a
okay.
little over time, guys.
So much.
So I want to wrap that up. Thank you guys so much for coming. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Sarah, this is Malachi Rodriguez. His information is right here if you need it. And like you said, there's some business cards over there if you need them. And now we will go forward with the raffle. So just give me one moment. Before doing so, I want to thank everyone again for being here. Thank you, Malachi, and thank you, Wells Fargo, for sponsoring today's media breakfast.
Thanks for having us.
And we get to turn it to
I sure will. There we go. Drum roll, please. There we go. Hey. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Some feedback tickets. Oh,
Hey, there we go.
I hope you enjoyed today's breakfast and thank you everyone online. We will see you next time. Thank you. If you have any questions, make sure to put them in our chat, email us. Thank you so much.
I know those guys.